for Monday, the 15th of May. I'm Stephen Ridgway. WordPress is being targeted yet again. This time, the concern is around the Advanced Custom Fields plugin. And there has been a significant uptick in the number of attacks against that particular vulnerability shortly after the proof of concept code was made public. So the vulnerability in question is CVE 2023-30777. It's a high severity reflected cross-site scripting flaw that basically allows unauthenticated attackers to steal sensitive information. As always with WordPress, even if you've got the settings in place to automatically apply patches and upgrades, it is worth just logging onto the admin console and giving it a nudge, because as I've said before, it doesn't always do it all on its own. So the cybersecurity firm Dragos has been hacked. Perhaps not a particularly serious hack. There was access to SharePoint and a handful of other other components of the cloud platform. Only general use data, some Intel reports, and those sorts of things. So it could have been a lot worse. However, what is interesting, what makes this stand out for me, is that the method used to compromise Dragos's accounts shows determination on the part of the attackers. So basically, the firm was compromised via the attackers compromising a new salesperson's personal email address before they started at Dragos, and the hacker then impersonated the employee in order to complete the Dragos employee onboarding procedure. Consequently, then accounts were set up, access was given to certain things. So it shows some real determination on the part of the attackers against Dragos, but it also highlights the issues around some. I suspect that, although the evidence isn't in the article, but I suspect the salesperson had published on LinkedIn or whatever that they were so happy they were going to be starting at Dragos in whenever, and the information became public, and an organisation then that were clearly trying to target Dragos. We're just waiting for an opportunity like that to compromise Dragos in that way. So it is something to think about. There's a lot of information out there in social media that is useful to attackers. So have a little think about what you publish about yourself and about the information that's out there. And if you are employing people, do make sure that when you're going through online onboarding processes, that the person that you're actually onboarding is really the person that you think they are. Capita has warned customers that they should assume that customer data was stolen. So the Capita, there's information been drip fed out from the breach, but there was a breach in early April. So 6 weeks later, they are now saying that information has been stolen. So Capita warned that universities' superannuation scheme in the UK, that data has been stolen. So that is something like £82 billion worth of investments that are tied up in that. So the information held regarding um, those accounts is around 470,000 active, deferred, and retired members. So there's a lot of information that's out there. So if you have been or you are part of the university's superannuation scheme, do watch out. Your data has been breached. Hopefully, Capita is providing identity theft protection and other means of combating any potential fraud that might be perpetrated as consequence of this particular breach. Brave browser is an interesting browser. It unveils a new feature that they are calling forgetful browsing as an anti-tracking feature. So Brave browser is, as you know, if you are interested in privacy, you've probably come across it before. It is a privacy-focused browser. Enabling forgetful browsing does a bit more than, say, incognito mode in most browsers. Yes, it clears cookies, but it also clears cache, and it clears other explicitly stored values in local storage or IndexedDB, and indirectly stored values, as in HTTP cache or DNS cache data. So it is a step forward in making it difficult for websites to track you through identifying your browser as being yours, which is a possibility for even in incognito mode. So, you know, yes, okay, your machine may not be storing much stuff at all, but it's still possible to identify if the same browser and the same machine comes to the site more than once. So yeah, if you're interested in privacy, that's an interesting step forward. Definitely worth considering Brave as a browser. And then finally from me today, a warning to beware of quishing, which is the latest ridiculous acronym based on phishing, but this is phishing using QR codes. QR code scams are not new, but they are, I think, not given the level of attention that they should be. So most people, if they scan a QR code, implicitly trust whatever it is, the website that they get sent to. It's just human behavior. So the way that quishing works is that through some means or another, you persuade people to scan a QR code, which is generally no more difficult than presenting them with a QR code and saying, scan the QR code. Takes them to a website that looks authentic and asks them for login credentials, at which point the login credentials are then used to access the real site. There appears to be quite a focus at the moment on accessing health data using this method. So especially in the US, but you know, if it's happening in the US, it's going to happen elsewhere as well. So definitely, if you are scanning a QR code, do make sure that the website that you end up going to actually is the website that you were expecting to go to, and not something that just looks like it. So one to put in perhaps to user security awareness training, I think. Anyway, that's all from me for today. Thank you for listening, and I will be back with you again tomorrow morning.